A big win sounds simple, doesn't it? Like a trophy handed over, like applause waiting at the end of the road. But wins don't come wrapped in gold paper. They come disguised in scars, in sleepless nights, in people turning their backs on you. They come when you've been pushed so far down that standing up feels like a joke. That's the moment it's decided, not by chance, not by luck, but by design. Because a big win isn't a prize, it's a test. It asks, how much can you take before you break? How long can you keep walking when every door slams in your face? And when you answer with blood in your mouth and fire in your eyes, that's when the wind shifts. That's when it becomes yours, not because you deserved it, but because you refused to let it slip away. A big win is forged in pain, not comfort. That's the part no one wants to believe. Everyone loves the sound of victory, the shine of success, the applause when it's over. But nobody talks about the fire that comes before it. Comfort doesn't create warriors. Comfort doesn't sharpen the blade. Comfort dulls you, makes you soft, makes you forget what it takes to crawl through the dirt and bleed for something. Pain is the forge, and you're the metal. Every blow, every strike, every scar, it's shaping you into something harder, sharper, unbreakable. People run from pain as if it's poison. They cover it up, numb it, escape it, pretend it doesn't exist. But pain is the teacher no one can silence. It drills the lessons into your bones. It makes sure you never forget what it cost you. Never forget what it took to keep going when everything in you screamed to stop. You don't remember the easy days. You don't grow from the soft moments. You grow when you're broken, when your chest is heavy, when the world presses down and you still rise. That's where the win is being carved, long before anyone sees it. Look at the people who crave shortcuts, the ones who want the crown without the weight of it. They shine for a moment, then they vanish because nothing real was forged in them. No scars, no nights of doubt, no battles against themselves. Just a hollow image of success, and hollow things don't last. The ones who endure, the ones who hold the win in their hands and don't let it slip. Those are the ones who've been through the furnace. They've burned. They've bled. They've walked through storms that would have drowned others. And because of that, the wind doesn't own them, they own it. The irony is, pain feels like punishment while you're in it. You think you're cursed. You think you're forgotten. You wonder why every step feels heavier, why nothing ever seems to go right. But that weight isn't a curse. It's resistance. It's pressure. It's the very thing that makes you stronger. Diamonds aren't born in silk pillows. They're born under crushing force. And the same is true for you. Every painful chapter, every betrayal, every disappointment, that's the pressure that shapes the big win. Without it, you wouldn't be able to carry it when it finally arrives. People don't realize that pain is proof. Proof that something is happening. Proof that something is shifting. Proof that you're in motion. Comfort is stillness. Stagnation, death dressed up in soft clothes. Pain means you're alive. Pain means you're moving. Pain means the win is somewhere up ahead. It's a sign, as twisted as it sounds, that you're on the right road. Because if it didn't matter, if it wasn't leading to something greater, you wouldn't be fighting so hard just to stay in the game. And isn't that the trick? The win doesn't show itself until after the suffering. You don't get to see the end from the middle. You don't know how close you are when you're bleeding in the dark. But that's where the decision is made. Do you quit and go back to comfort? Or do you let the pain forge you into someone who can't be broken? Most people choose comfort. That's why most people never taste the real win. They settle for scraps because the fire was too hot, the weight too heavy. But those who stay, those who let the pain work on them, they rise from it carrying something that can't be taken away. The big win doesn't come to the soft. It doesn't come to the comfortable. It doesn't come to those who run when the fire burns. It comes to the ones who stayed in the furnace, who let themselves be remade, who understood that every wound was building them into the kind of person who could carry the victory without collapsing under it. Pain is the ticket. Pain is the price. Pain is the proof. And without it, the win would never be real. Every loss is a rehearsal for victory. Funny how people treat losing like it's the end of the story, like the curtain falls and everything stops. They cry, they rage, they throw their dreams into the fire because they couldn't hold the trophy the first time. But loss isn't the end, it's the script being written. Every stumble, every failure, every collapse is practice. It's the ugly, brutal rehearsal for the big show. And the truth is, no one performs flawlessly on their first attempt. You have to forget the fairy tale. You don't get the win without first drowning in the taste of loss, over and over, until you learn the rhythm of it. Loss teaches in ways that victory never could. Victory blinds you, fills you with pride, makes you think you've arrived. But loss rips you open. It strips away the illusions, shows you exactly where you're weak, exposes every crack in your armor. It makes you face the things you'd rather keep buried. Every time you lose, you're handed a mirror, and you're forced to stare at the truth of who you are. Some people smash the mirror. They blame the world, blame everyone else, never daring to look long enough to learn. But those who endure the reflection, those who let the sting burn into their memory, they grow sharper, colder, stronger. The irony is that loss feels like a curse, but it's actually preparation. Think about it. How could you ever carry a big win if you don't know the weight of defeat? How could you ever stand tall on the mountain if you don't remember what it felt like to crawl through the mud? Loss makes you humble. Loss teaches gratitude. Loss gives you the hunger that comfort could never feed. Without loss, you'd never develop the teeth to bite down when the world tries to rip the victory from your hands. People think rehearsal is boring, repetitive, meaningless. But that's what makes the final act flawless. Every mistake in the shadows becomes strength under the spotlight. Every failure when no one's watching becomes precision when the crowd roars. Loss works the same way. You fall, you learn, you bleed, you adjust. Every single setback is training your mind, sharpening your focus, teaching you to survive. And when the moment comes, the real fight, the real test, you're no longer stumbling blind. You've been here before, in different shapes, in smaller battles, and you've survived. That's why you win when it matters. Loss also hardens you against fear. The first time you fail, it's crushing, humiliating, unbearable. The second time, it still stings, but you know you can stand back up. By the 10th time, you're almost laughing at it. It doesn't scare you anymore because you've built a tolerance, like scars covering old wounds. Fear loses its grip on you when you've lost enough times. And once fear has no control, you become unstoppable. That's why the people who've fallen the most are often the ones who rise the highest. They're not fragile anymore. They don't break at the first sign of pressure. They've been through too much to be shaken. The win is always hiding inside the loss. Every defeat plants a seed. It doesn't look like it at first. Looks more like ashes, more like endings. But give it time, give it persistence, and that seed grows into the strength you'll need when the moment comes. The problem is most people quit before it sprouts. They let loss convince them it's final, instead of realizing it's the rehearsal. They bow out before the show begins. But if you look at it differently, if you treat every loss as training, then nothing is wasted. Every failure is fuel. Every rejection is instruction. Every door slammed in your face is rehearsal for the door that finally swings wide. You stop fearing loss because you realize it's the very thing preparing you for the big win. And when it finally arrives, you don't crumble, you don't hesitate, you don't waste it, because you've been rehearsing all along. Patience is the weapon that unlocks the win. Nobody likes that word, patience. It sounds weak, doesn't it? Like sitting in silence, waiting for something to happen, waiting for the world to hand you a prize. People hate patience because it doesn't look like action. It doesn't feel like progress. But that's the trick. It's the most dangerous move you can make. Because patience isn't waiting. Patience is preparation. It's sharpening the blade in the shadows while everyone else rushes into the fight with dull steel. Impatience kills more dreams than failure ever could. People think they deserve the big win right now, that they've done enough, suffered enough, earned enough. They look at someone else's moment and believe they should already be there too. So they cut corners. They force doors open that weren't meant to open yet. They throw themselves into battles they weren't trained to survive. And what happens? They break, they burn out. They collapse under the very thing they thought they were ready for. That's the price of impatience. You get what you want too early, and it destroys you. Patience, though, is like a silent weapon. You let the world underestimate you. You let the noise pass by. You let others sprint ahead, and you wait. You let the timing ripen. You let the pieces fall into place. You let yourself grow into someone who can carry the weight. That's what most don't understand. The big win isn't just about having it. It's about being able to hold it without letting it slip through your fingers. Patience builds that grip. Without it, the victory will be too heavy, and it will crush you. The world worships speed, faster, quicker, sooner. But speed without strength is suicide. Laughed in your face and you. Rushing to the finish line doesn't matter if you're not strong enough to stand when you get there. Patience is what keeps you steady, what lets you bide your time, what gives you the discipline to outlast those who burn bright for a moment and vanish into smoke. The ones who win aren't the fastest. They're the ones who refused to quit when the waiting stretched longer than they expected. Think about the hunter who waits for hours in silence, breath steady, eyes locked, not moving an inch. People think he's wasting time, but when the moment comes, when the prey steps into the open, he doesn't miss. Patience makes the strike lethal. Without it, you're just firing blind, wasting bullets, exhausting yourself, watching the prize slip away because you couldn't stay still long enough to take it. That's the same with life. Your win won't walk into your hands just because you're impatient. It'll come when it's ready, and only patience will keep you there to catch it. People confuse patience with weakness, but it's the opposite. It takes strength to sit with silence, to hold your fire, to endure the weight of not knowing when or how it will happen. Weakness is rushing because you're scared it won't come. Strength is waiting because you know it will. The impatient crumble under pressure, but the patient grow harder. They learn to breathe under the tension, to stand tall in the uncertainty. And when the door finally opens, they're calm, collected, ready to walk through it without trembling. The truth is, most people lose not because they weren't capable, but because they weren't patient. They gave up too soon, or they grabbed too quickly, or they couldn't stand the silence long enough to see the storm pass. The win was always there, just a little further ahead. But they traded it for something smaller, something immediate, something that felt easier in the moment. That's the curse of impatience. It makes you settle. It makes you believe crumbs are enough when the feast was just beyond reach. Patience, though, refuses crumbs. Patience doesn't settle. Patience waits for the feast, and when it comes, it devours it without apology. That's why it's a weapon, because it doesn't just protect you. It puts you in position to strike when the time is perfect. The wind doesn't go to the one who rushes. It goes to the one who waits long enough, sharp enough, steady enough to take it and never let go. Doubt from others is proof you're on the right path. Strange, isn't it? The louder the world laughs at you, the closer you are to something real. People don't waste their breath doubting what doesn't matter. Nobody mocks mediocrity. Nobody throws stones at the man sitting quietly in the crowd. Doubt is the applause you get for daring to stand where others are too afraid to go. Every whisper, every laugh, every sneer is evidence that you've touched a nerve, that you're doing something they can't control, something they secretly wish they had the courage to attempt. Doubt isn't about you, it's about them. It's a mirror reflecting their own fears, their own limits, their own failures. When they say you can't do it, what they mean is they couldn't. When they say you're crazy, what they mean is your vision is too big for their small cage. When they say you're wasting your time, what they mean is they already wasted theirs and don't want to watch you succeed where they gave up. Their doubt is nothing but a confession, a little slip of the tongue that reveals how trapped they are. And instead of admitting it, they project it onto you, hoping to drag you down to their level. The trick is to recognize it for what it is: fuel. Doubt is firewood. Every insult, every laugh, every eye roll is more wood for the flames. Let them talk, let them laugh, let them doubt. It only means you're walking a path that scares them. Nobody doubts the man who plays it safe. Nobody mocks the one who follows the rules. They save that for the one who breaks out, the one who dares to do the thing they couldn't. And if you let their doubt seep into your bones, if you start to believe them, you hand them the victory. But if you use it as fire, you'll walk through the flames they tried to burn you with.